Hi, I'm Paula from Paula's DIY Decor and welcome to my channel. I'm the crafter from Down Under and today I'm super excited to share with you how I made this gorgeous wooden bead and burlap mantlescape. I like to change my mantle around whenever I can, and I was really inspired by a boho theme. It was a beautiful day outside and I thought I wanted to change my mantle around using beautiful, sunny, warm colours. I've got 4 DIYs to share with you, starting with this first DIY, which is a wooden bead floral wreath. It's absolutely stunning. You're going to need a picture frame, a wire ring, some burlap ribbon, some florals, some wooden beads and some hot glue. So to get started with your picture frame, you're going to pop out the glass insert. You won't be needing that. And you're going to roll out your burlap ribbon and measure 4 strips long ways and short ways. This is because we're going to create a crisscross pattern at the back of this picture frame. So once you've got your burlap all nicely cut out and spaced, you're going to lay down your 4 burlap ribbons horizontally, and you're going to glue them to the back of your frame. Space them out evenly. Mine are about 1 inch apart, but really you'll need to work towards the size of your picture frame. And once you've got them all glued down, you just need to put a dab of glue on the edge of the picture frame. Then you're going to take the short strips of burlap and you're going to lay them perpendicular to your original burlap strips. You're going to glue them down only on one side, because what we're going to do is we're actually going to thread the short pieces in and out of the long pieces, if that makes any sense. You can see what I'm doing here better than I'm explaining it, but when you're threading them through, make sure that every second thread is opposite to the one beforehand, just to give it a little bit more interest and dimension in the back. And then you're going to end up with a nicely, I don't know what you call it, but threaded through burlap in a crisscross pattern. 1 horizontal, 1 vertical, nicely put together by threading them through. After you've trimmed off all the bits and pieces of your burlap ribbons, you can see it makes a gorgeous backdrop behind the picture frame. So then I grabbed my wooden floral wire ring just to decide how I wanted to position it. And I think I want to hang it off long ways. So I just used my wire clippers and I cut the ring to allow me to then string through the wooden beads. Now, the wooden beads that I bought from my local craft store came in all different sizes. So I decided I picked the largest size wooden bead and I just strung them around until I got to the end. They're a little bit slippery, and I strung them around, and then once I had them finished, I used my hot glue, popped a little dab of hot glue inside the last wooden bead, and I secured it all together. And then I went back with my hot glue and just did some extra glue around the outside of the connecting piece just to keep it all safely secured together. Next, I started to arrange my floral design at the base of the wreath. Now you can choose to arrange your design on the side or at the top. Basically what I'm trying to do is to leave enough of the wooden beads showing, but also create a beautiful floral design at the base of the wreath to give it a lot more interest, and it really does end up looking quite soft and pretty. And the greenery that I used as well were actually the greenery from some floral stems that I had bought earlier in the year, and I just simply cut them up. I really like how wispy they are. I like how they just look like they're floating from the floral wreath, and it really makes the wreath look nice and boho and natural and earthy. So I went ahead and then arranged the burlap roses that I had created. It's coming up in the next DIY. I do show you how I make these. And I used a combination of florals from my stash and of course these beautiful DIY burlap flowers. The individual flowers actually come from my Easter tablescape, which I'll put the link in below. And I just proceeded to make a really nice arrangement, making sure that the greenery would pop out at all different angles of the wreath, just to give it a little bit more interest. So to hang the wreath, I used some jute twine to make a loop and hang it off the picture frame, but it was a little bit short and I had to make it again. Now to cover the top of the jute twine, I did make a bow using about 15 twirls of jute twine. All you do is you wrap it around your fingers and then cut off a small piece of jute twine and make a knot in the center of your circles, and then once you've done that, you fluff out the jute twine and there you've got a beautiful jute twine bow. I just used my hot glue and adhered the jute twine bow to the top of the picture frame. And so there you have it, a beautiful burlap wooded bead floral wreath arrangement. I think this is really pretty. It's very boho-esque, but it's elegant and it looks fabulous against a gorgeous wall, white wall. It would look beautiful hanging from a door or hanging on a shelf. Really, it's an all year round decor that you can hang anywhere in your home. So for this second DIY, I'm going to show you how I made these beautiful burlap roses. All you're going to need is some burlap or burlap ribbon and some hot glue. To get started, you're just going to put a small strip and then curl the burlap ribbon into itself. Then you'll see me twisting the burlap about halfway down and curling it at the same time. It's a little bit hard to explain it, but all you need to remember with burlap roses, and they don't have to be perfect, is twist the ribbon halfway, turn the rose, twist and turn, twist and turn. You will get the hang of it. You only need 1 or 2 times to practice. That's how I found that I could do it. And honestly, because it's burlap and it's supposed to look like a boho, beautiful rose, it doesn't have to be perfect, and therefore you can have a little bit more leeway in making a few more mistakes with these sorts of roses. It's really, really easy to make. Here you're seeing me use a slightly larger piece of burlap. Again, strip of glue, roll it in the middle to make the center of the rose, and then you're going to half the, or curl and half the burlap ribbon, but twist it at the same time. And that's essentially how you make a burlap rose. Use your hot glue to adhere all the different sections together that might undo. And that's it, a beautiful burlap rose. For this larger one, I didn't like the little gap in the centre, so I used a wooden bead to create a little, kind of like a little bud inside of the burlap rose. Beautiful burlap roses. I like how they're kind of messy and not quite perfect. I think they work really well for the beaded floral wreath. for our third DIY, I'd love to share with you how I made this gorgeous wooden bead and burlap floral centrepiece. I used and upcycled a previous project, which was a wooden box that I used for a floral arrangement for Australia Day. And you'll notice, you're going to need some flowers, and you're going to need some wooden beads and some burlap ribbon. Now, to cover the mess that I had made when I pulled apart this previous project DIY, I just simply used some burlap ribbon and some hot glue, and I positioned the burlap ribbon about halfway up the wooden box, which is basically made out of tongue depressors or paddle pop sticks, stained in a gorgeous brown sort of earthy colour. And I hot glued the burlap halfway up the top just to cover the mess that wouldn't come off when I upcycled this wooden box. And then I covered the entire wooden box with burlap ribbon. Then what I did was, once I had glued the whole burlap ribbon together at the top, I then folded the burlap ribbon into itself just to give the wooden box a little bit more height, and it turned out really nice actually. It was the combination of burlap ribbon and the wooden, it looks like a little palette box, but using paddle pop sticks, it's amazing what you can design. I really thought it worked out for this particular mantlescape that I'm creating in this series. Nice and earthy, boho-esque, but yet elegant and down to earth. Once I had the burlap ribbon secured and into place, I then used some floral wire. I think it's about 24 gauge, and I started to I wanted to make a round sort of decoration at the front of the wooden box to tie in with the rest of the DIYs in this series. I really wanted to use the wooden beads and create sort of like a wooden pendant to put at the front of the box. So using the floral wire, I just made a circle with the wooden beads, and then I used my hot glue to adhere the wooden bead circle onto the front of the palette box. And then I used some smaller beads and basically filled it in using hot glue. So you'll see me playing around with the different sizes until I got them right. And it made a beautiful little decorative piece at the front. You can use some beautiful crystals or different types, whatever you choose, whatever goes with your decor. But for this series, I wanted to really carry through the wooden bead and burlap theme, and I thought it turned out really beautiful. Once your decorative wooden bead piece is complete, then I just took out my flowers from, these flowers actually came from my Boho tablescape, which I'll put the link below. I really like to try and reuse as much as I can. Florals in Australia are very expensive, so I do try to reuse, upcycle, change around as many of my flowers my artificial flowers that I can. This is a beautiful apricot sort of colour. The light doesn't really do it justice, but it's a very soft apricot colour, and it goes beautiful with the entire theme and scheme of this particular mantlescape. And I just arranged these apricot peonies, I think they're peonies, flowers around this the centrepiece, the wooden box, and it turned out really nice. I used some greenery just to add a pop of colour and make it look a little bit more natural and earthy. And I also had some baby's breath that I scattered around the arrangement as well. It's really important to fluff out your flowers as much as you can. It makes a big difference when you're putting together a floral arrangement. But I thought this centrepiece turned out absolutely gorgeous. I love the combination of the apricot flowers with the wooden bead decorative piece at the front and the upcycled wooden box using the burlap to give it extra height. I absolutely love this centrepiece and I hope you love it too. So for my last DIY, I'm going to share with you how I made these gorgeous wooden bead candle holders. You're going to need a glass candle holder. You're going to need some wooden beads, some floral wire, and some hot glue. Now, first of all, I measured the circumference of the top of this particular glass candle holder. It's a candle that I picked up from the reject shop here in Australia. You can get them for about $2 or $3. They have beautiful different aromas. And once you're finished with the candle, I melt away any remaining candle residue and then I repurpose the glass. So I used the floral wire and measured the circumference of the top of the glass candle, because using your floral wire, you're going to make the edge of the glass candle with wooden beads, and you're going to use the same wire to create the handle. So once you've strung through your wooden beads, and in my case I used smaller wooden beads, I then connected the wooden beads together and made a little knot, and then I used the remainder of the floral wire to make the handle. The wooden beads that I used for the handle are slightly larger. I just liked it for something different and it gives the candle holder a little bit more interest. But once you've made the size of the handle that you like, then you're going to string it through underneath the wooden beads that you have strung at the top of the candle, and you're going to make another knot. I just wound the wire around itself, and then I tucked it into the inside of the candle for now, just to make sure that I don't need to add any more beads to it later on before I cut it off. Then what I wanted to do was I wanted to make a design around the candle holder. So basically I just used my hot glue and I put a little dab onto the glass, and then I just started to lay out my wooden beads until I got to the bottom of the glass candle. And then I repeated the same design on the other side. And then I wasn't happy with that. I thought, why stop there? I made some wooden beaded designs in quarters, and then I actually did them in between. You'll see what I mean, but it turned out really nice. And then I made sure that I put some wooden beads at the base of the candle so that it was completely covered. If you're liking this video, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit that bell so that you can be alerted every time I upload a video. If you're new to my channel, welcome, and thank you so much to all my subscribers who leave me wonderful, lovely comments. I love to hear what you like. I really enjoy making all of these DIYs, and I hope that I'm inspiring you to do the same. So here we have it, a beautiful wooden beaded candle holder using wooden beads and some glue, and it looks absolutely stunning. So this is my favourite part, putting it all together. I hope you've enjoyed these 4 DIYs. I think they look absolutely stunning. I love the warmth. I love the boho-esque style. It's still elegant, yet it's really inviting. And of course, it's decor that you can have in your home all year round. Have a great week. See you next time. Bye.